Good evening and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining Einstein Day. My name is Li Binggu. I'm the head of academic relations at SwissNext China. Today, we are very honored to have vice presidents, deans, and accomplished alumni of 5 top Swiss public universities to introduce their academic and research strengths and share firsthand information about study programs and the benefits of studying in Switzerland. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask them, please use the Q&A function in the Zoom interface. You can type in your questions at any time during the webinar, and we will answer them in the Q&A session. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Felix Musner, Science Council and CEO of SwissNext China, to give introductory remarks. Dr. Musner, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Libing. So good evening here in China and good morning in Switzerland. So I would like to share briefly my screen. So hopefully you all can see it. So a warm welcome to Einstein Day. My name is Felix Mösner. I'm the CEO of SwissNext China, the Science Consulate of Switzerland in China. I would like to jump into a presentation, give you a nice overview about Switzerland and the performance of Switzerland in education, research, and innovation. So first, I would like to start with Switzerland and Europe. So Switzerland is a landlocked country in the middle of Europe. So it has major countries around it, like France, Germany, Italy, Austria, and Liechtenstein. So in total, we have a population that is 1/3 of Shanghai. And if you would put Switzerland in China, it would fit 230 times. So I would like to say a few words about the strength, common strength and rankings. So I would like to start in this sense with the top talent grants, so the ERC grants, which is actually a very nice measure how actually talents are attracted to countries. And as you see in this ranking where we see the concentrations of these grants, you see that Switzerland is doing pretty well. And so just as a information for you, one grant has 2.5 million euro. And as you see, we attract quite a lot of them. So moving on the innovation side, here we have the European Innovation Scoreboard. You see on this map here that we have actually a color graduation. So the leading countries are dark green, and you can see that actually we see that Switzerland has quite some gap here to the next countries here in Europe in terms of innovation. The same trend we'll see here on the global scale, where Switzerland is already for 10 years the most innovative nation on this planet. We are up here a little bit lonely here, Switzerland on top here, among all the innovation leaders. And I also would like to show that actually we have here China as a very big bubble here and gradually moving upwards as well. So here we come to the world competitiveness ranking. Here we are number 3 worldwide, and the key weights here as well is very much in R&D side, patents, scientific output, and also the level of universities. Moving further to R&D expenditures, so this shows how much is invested of the GDP in R&D. So this is a basis for very sound innovation, and you see that Switzerland is behind Israel, South Korea on the 3rd place, and with 3.4%, and China would be in the level of 2.2%. As you see, the private sector in Switzerland and China are investing a lot in this domain. So most part like 70 to 80%. And on this nice graph here, you see actually the red line. This is the investment that China is doing, and it's really moving upwards. And 3 years ago, it's already 90% of that is United States is doing in R&D. And so it might be moving closer in these years. One more I would like to show is the talent ranking. Also here for the 7th year, Switzerland is the leading country in the world among the talents which are produced in Switzerland. And I would like to mention here that one of the reasons why we are leading is we have an emphasis in apprenticeships. So actually, this is something that I want to show now when we talk about the Swiss education system. So we do have actually the vocational education, but also universities. And we give a lot of efforts to give education to everyone in Switzerland. So most people in Switzerland do apprenticeship. And so roughly 20-30% will go to universities. And so this is also one of the reasons why in the U21 ranking, our education system, and especially also the quality of universities, is ranked one of the best in the world. So in Switzerland, we have 20 universities. So we have 2 on federal level, on the federal level, so the Institute of Technologies. We have 10 universities and 8 universities of applied sciences all over Switzerland, nicely distributed. So here you see the universities. The oldest is University of Basel. Here, which is over 500 years old, so 560 years already. So one of the oldest universities in the world. And here you have the Universities of Applied Sciences. We have a great number of Nobel laureates in Switzerland in physics, peace, medicine, literature, and chemistry. So the most famous one is obviously Albert Einstein. And we are extremely proud to have also 2 new Nobel laureates at the University of Geneva who got the Nobel Prize last year for making visible exoplanets, and quite nice achievement. So our universities are extremely international. So half of the professors are international, and almost 60% of the PhDs, postdocs are also international. In a quick summary, so we are a very international country, also thanks to the languages that we speak in Switzerland. We are in middle of Europe, a neutral country. Our higher education system is more than 500 years. We have a very open education system. I also discovered that actually we have one of the world's best cost-benefit ratios, because our student fees are very modest. But when you look the rankings, we are placed very high. So this explains it. Yeah, definitely we also have a high scientific excellence, close ties to industries. So here you see an overview of our academic cooperation agreements with China. So here are Chinese universities and here the Swiss universities. So we are over 250 agreements, which you can see here on this overview. We have very strong alumni chapters here in China. So here with our ambassadors, with our ambassador Regazzoni and the other ambassadors, which are the heads of the chapters of the alumni chapters. Here you see the single chapters, how active they are here on one of our last events where we have a large gatherings here in Shanghai. Yeah, so Switzerland is much more. So we have great nature, great sceneries. We do have chocolate and cheese, but there's much more. We like to challenge. So as you see with Federer, with the Americans Cup, also the solar plane going around the world, and the fastest electric car in the world as well is actually made in Switzerland. So this is based on a strong education, sound research base, and very strong innovation as well, which actually is the basis of big companies, which you have here, all active in Switzerland, in China, the Swiss companies in China, and we also have a lot of international organizations like the United Nations and many more international organizations back in Switzerland. So we have strong ties, which you can see here. Our presidents, we have a Nobel laureate in Shanghai at Shanghai Tech. We also have a former minister who studied at ETH, Roger Federer, of course, in Shanghai. And we also have Herzog de Meuron building the bird's nest during, for the Olympics. This year, we also celebrate our 70th anniversary between China and Switzerland, so the diplomatic ties. So the students, apologies, enjoyed very much in Switzerland. So we have a few snapshots here, which shows how they enjoy their life. So I would like to say a few words on the SwissNext network. So we are in Boston, San Francisco, in Shanghai, in India, and in Brazil, and also have offices at the embassies. So about SwissX China, so sometimes we have to explain the difference that we are not Sweden, but Switzerland, but that's a little bit on the fun side. So what I also would like to show is, oops, I can't move on. Yeah, here. But I also would like to show is that the areas innovation, academic relations, and art science, this is where we focus on. Some of our programs, and this year we are celebrating our 20th anniversary, so the next 20, so stay tuned. Our next event is coming soon. And so, a little bit feedback on all the activities that we did the last 2 years. So thank you very much, and please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you, and enjoy.
Thank you, Dr. Musner, for this comprehensive overview of the Swiss higher education research and innovation system. Now let's move on to the next session. In this session, you will hear presentations by high-profile representatives from 5 leading Swiss public universities. I'm honored to introduce our first speaker, Professor Dr. Jean Hesteven. He joined EPFL as Chair of Computational Mathematics and Simulation Science in 2013 and as Dean of the School of Basic Sciences since 2017. As of January 1st next year, he will serve as Provost to EPFL with responsibility for all academic affairs. Professor Hesteven, the floor is yours.
Let me see if I can share my, I think you have to stop sharing so I can share. I cannot share my screen. Well, good afternoon to everybody, and thank you for the opportunity. So I'll give you a 7-minute introduction to EPFL. It's not a lot, but let me try. Here's a picture of EPFL seen from the top. We already seen the global picture of Switzerland. EPFL is located in the western part of Switzerland, around the Lake Geneva. But in fact, EPFL is more than simple one campus, but in fact has a number of antennas in other parts of the French-speaking part of Switzerland. But all academic teaching and many academic activities are ongoing in Lausanne, but some also in some of the other areas with a particular focus. To give you a sense of the size of EPFL, there's about 350 professors. We have a good fraction of them being women. It was already mentioned that Switzerland is very international. At EPFL, we have more than 120 different nationalities of students and postdocs and so forth. There's quite a number there's a large population of Chinese doctoral students and postdoctoral students that creates a sort of a strong community of Chinese in the region. I have several Chinese in my group. In terms of study, there's 5 schools: basic sciences, life sciences, architecture and civil engineering. There's computer science, and there's the School of Engineering. And then there are 2 colleges. One is based on management of technology, and one is a small school focusing on humanities and social sciences. There's a number of centers that goes across EPFL that tries to build bridges between the different institutions. And as a student or as a postdoc, there's rich opportunities to work in between the more traditional disciplines. And this is something that we encourage as much as possible. As was already mentioned, the mission of EPFL is education, innovation, and research. So let me just give you a brief snapshot of all 3 of them. In terms of education, at this point in time, we have about 11,000 students, maybe a little more. It's growing very rapidly. And there's rich opportunities for students also to pursue continued education after they finish. So even after graduation, you can come back to EPFL and continue your studies. In terms of research, there's 372 laboratories headed by professors or senior research members from EPFL. We produce about 4,100 publications a year, and there's a strong emphasis on inventions, patents, and so on. I will show this in a minute in innovation, some statistics on innovation. Now, EPFL has identified 6 areas that it will focus on in the next 4 years. It doesn't mean that we will not do all the other things, but these areas will have a particular emphasis. So this is sustainability and energy, neuroscience and neuroengineering, health science and technology, imaging very broadly, intelligent systems very broadly, robots, artificial intelligence, and so on. And the last one is the fundamental sciences, math, physics, chemistry, and to some extent computer science. So this is areas where there will be a particular a number of opportunities to pursue both as student as postdoctoral researchers. In terms of innovation, for the last year, there was 11 startup companies, about 100 patents filed. This is something that gets a lot of attention at EPFL. There's a very active scene of innovation and technology transfer. And a lot of it is driven by doctoral students finishing their thesis and then pursuing ideas that originates from that. And one of the things that makes this possible, you can see on the right here. So this is an image of EPFL sort of from the top. You can see we have athletic facilities, convention center, and so forth. It sits right at the lakeside of Lake Geneva. But on the right-hand side, there's what is called the EPFL Innovation Park, which is an area where there's both large companies are represented, but then there's a very large number of startup companies that can work in this ecosystem between being mentored by large companies and being supported by the infrastructure of EPFL and the access to talent. So this is very, very successful. It's completely full. So there's a lot of activities. On the left side of EPFL is University of Lausanne, which is another resource to think about. So I've traveled a lot in China, and these are some of the questions that I'm being asked when students ask me, when I ask students why not come to EPFL, these are the questions they ask me. Do I need to speak French? And the answer is no. After the bachelor's, everything is in English. So this is not a necessity. Of course, learning a little bit of French is nice. Do you have fellowships for master students? The answer is yes. We have excellence fellowships that helps you cover the cost of living in Lausanne, because the tuition for doing a master's, as was already mentioned, is very, very low. It is about $1,500 US a year. This is the same for everybody, whether you're a Swiss student or not. Do you have fellowships for PhD students? Typically, the answer is no, but because we pay you a salary. So we don't have a fellowship, but you simply get a salary as an employee. The salary is typically at least twice what you would get at a US institution. And you would be paid for the duration of your studies. It's for PhDs, usually 4 years, assuming you come in with a master's. So if you're interested in looking at this for EPFL, if for master students and studies, there's a link here that discusses the opportunities for PhD students. There's a doctoral school. There's a similar link that you can get more information and the different doctoral schools, areas of research and education. And if you're interested in what do I do after my PhD, perhaps in China, well, the best I can do is look for the relevant labs and the professors and contact them. Tell them that you have an interest in joining their lab. What are the opportunities? And I'm sure they'll be happy to share that with you. So with that, EPFL and Lausanne is also a very inspiring place to live with lots of social activities, perhaps a little bit less now, but this will return. So with that, thank you for your attention, and be happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Professor Hesteven, for the presentation. Now let's welcome our next speaker, Professor Dr. Detlef Ganser. Professor Ganser serves as Vice President for Research and Corporate Relations at ETH Zurich since 2015 and is responsible for internal research funding and equipment, activities of platforms, IP, IE labs, and the spin-off activities, as well as projects and contracts with industry. Professor Ganser, the floor is yours.
So good evening to all the students in China and Ni hao, and also very, very warm welcome to our colleagues here in Europe. Thank you, Jan, for answering already all the questions which are addressed by Chinese students, except one difference. We will not be asked about French. It is more or less German, but all the other things are equivalent between EPFL and ETH. So yeah, ETH is founded in 1855 and was the driving force actually for the industrialization of Switzerland. And today we can really say one of the world leading universities. We have 540 professors in 16 departments, and we cover from natural sciences, engineering, social sciences, and combine it also with innovation. At the moment, we have around 22,000 students, and in the same way, they're coming very international from 120 different countries. We would say and claim actually that our reasons for success is the education, then groundbreaking fundamental research, and the knowledge transfer which we have that benefits the society. Now, as Felix already mentioned, we have a very high reputation history, but also our new faculty contributes significantly to the reputation of our school. And that goes from the mathematics over to chemistry, physics, and some other areas within our school. Now, if we look into the teaching at ETH, as I said, within the 16 departments, we have 23 bachelor's and 40 master programs. These are very compact curricula. Bachelor is 6 semesters, master 3 or 4. We have solid scientific foundation combined with practical applications. Of course, modern teaching methods are applied. We have scholarships for outstanding students, and very strong focus also on entrepreneurial approaches, which are more and more encouraged, and a focus on real critical thinking. In terms of our research, which I mentioned already, we have different platforms with a world-class infrastructure and very international teams. So we have 65% of our professors are internationals, actually, and come from all over the world. We put a lot of emphasis on real basic and fundamental research because we're strong believers that's the beginning of any kind of innovation. So we have a very bottom-up approach. That means with a lot of freedom to take unconventional research up here, and we have an internal research support program. The application of our results are good for society, and we try to transfer them. And of course, we have not only connections to all the schools and universities within Switzerland, we have also a very intensive network and international cooperations with numerous research partners, and that is from science, from industry, and of course from business. The 4 areas which we see as our responsibilities: responsibility and sustainability, materials manufacturing technologies, and information technology, where we put a lot of emphasis on, and medicine and health. However, as I mentioned already, 500 professors are covering the entire normal portfolio of a university. Here we have certain dedicated activities, competence centers, and also national competence centers where we work together with other universities and partners from the ETH domain. One of our 2 latest establishments are the quantum computing, where we have a very strong fundamental research. More than 20 professors are working in this field. We're a leading house of the Swiss National Research Initiative, which is called Quantum Science and Technology. And what's fairly new is that we open up a quantum computing laboratory together with the PSI. Since a couple of years, we're working together with the Max Planck Institute in Germany on the Center for Learning Systems. And to make it more visible and more structured within ETH, we formed the ETH AI Center, which should combine and is combining already our knowledge with industrial applications, but also connecting to material science, to chemistry, to physics, and all the other activities within ETH. If you look into how we are connected to the world, you can see national and international research contacts with a number of universities, with industrial partners. It's spread over the 5 continents, but also very strong linked with our industrial partners within Switzerland. I mentioned already that we put an emphasis on entrepreneurial development and forming spin-off companies. So in total at the moment, ETH stands for approximately 480 spin-offs which came out of our school. What you see in the dark blue, the lower numbers are dedicated supporting programs with donations from outside. And 2019, we formed 30 companies, and I can give you the number of 2020. Until today, it's 29, and you see they reflect very well the entire portfolio of our research activities. The most important part for us is actually that we are not just creating companies, we really want to make an impact into our Swiss and European and worldwide economy. And you can see that a lot of jobs are created. So that means we open up new areas in all the different domains. And here, very strong also education program is the basis for it. With that, I hope that you got a snapshot about ETH, and of course, I'm very happy if you address some of your questions later on. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Professor Ganser, for the presentation. Now, please allow me to introduce our next speaker, Professor Dr. Stefan Berthlet. Before joining University of Geneva in 2003 as Secretary General, Professor Berthlet worked at the State Secretariat for Education, Research, and Innovation, and was responsible for representing Switzerland at international research institutions such as European Space Agency, the European Southern Observatory. He has been named Vice Rector as of November 2018 in charge of international and interinstitutional relations. Professor Berthlet, you have the floor.
Thank you. And thank you to SwissNext China to giving me the occasion to present briefly the University of Geneva to this Einstein Day. So University of Geneva was created in 1559. So it's a quite old university. It's a public institution, and we are proud to be among the 1% of the best university in the world. According to the Shanghai ranking, we are placed at the 58th position. And so University of Geneva is constantly evolving to meet the need of the society, and his profile is very international, and about 40% of our 19,000 students come from abroad, and it is quite the same for the body of our teacher and professors. So we have 9 faculties from science, medicine, humanities, social science, economy, management, law, theology, psychology, and education sciences, translation and interpretation. And due to the profile of being a comprehensive university, we have been able to set up an interdisciplinary center, which makes the bridge between natural sciences and social sciences in different topics, like in computer sciences, global studies, history, genetics. So we have many interdisciplinary center, and with this comprehensive profile, we are able to offer different type of bachelor, master, and doctorate program for our students. And in addition to this program, we offer also lifelong learning program for 10,000 students more than this 19,000 students. And we produce MOOCs like every universities. Our campus is located in the center of the city of Geneva, and we call also the International Geneva. So that means that the University of Geneva has a very close contact with all international organizations located in Geneva. And due to this close relation, we are able to exchange expertise with this international organization, but also to offer to our students internship also in this organization. In the research, so it has been mentioned by Felix Mosner, astronomy, it's a very important field of research at the University of Geneva. We received the Nobel Prize last year Michel Maillard and Didier Queloz for the discovery of the first exoplanets in 1995. But since that date, we keep being the leader, world leader in this domain of exoplanets. But we have also a strong team of mathematicians, and we received also medal fields in 2010, and two of our former student and assistant received also this medal fields in 90 and in 2014. We have a very special program in medicines, also in digital humanities. That means where we bring new technology in humanities. And also we have a quite important group in quantum cryptography, and we have been able to have a spin-off of this research group, and we created the company Eidecantic, which is the world leader in cryptographic quantum. And also we have a strong program with Tsinghua University, the Geneva Tsinghua Initiative, and it's dedicated to the SDGs. So based on this research, we have been able also to receive 6 national center of competence at the university, one in mathematics with SwissMath, one in astronomy with Planets S, one in biology with chemical biology, one in human sciences with lives, and another in medical fields with mental disease. And recently we received the last one, evolving language, which brings together linguistics, philosophy, biology, neurosciences, psychology, and informatics. And all this national center are based also with a strong collaboration with other universities and high school in Switzerland. So we belong also to a large network of collaboration with different type of university, but we have a strategic partner. So this is special collaboration we develop with Princeton, Keio, Sydney, Yonsei, Tsinghua, Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Zurich, Montreal, and Brussels. And also we encourage our students for mobility, so to move through the world, to take courses with our partner university, but also we're welcome to receive students from a foreign country. And we are a member of different academic network. So if I want to summarize the profile of the University of Geneva, I will say that University of Geneva is moving forward by anticipating rather than reacting, by innovating to provide solutions to the today's challenges, by innovating in pedagogy, by developing the link between basic research and innovation and startup creation, by developing first-class infrastructure, also by making SDG as an international institutional compass and a transformation tool for all of our mission and activities, by also ensuring the digital transition in education, research, and services to the wider community, and by also remaining open to the world to be stronger. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Bassett. Now I'm glad to introduce Professor Dr. Sebastian Hiller. Professor Hiller joined Biocentrum at the University of Basel as a Swiss National Science Foundation professor in 2010. Today, he is Associate Professor of Structural Biology and Biophysics and the Dean of Research at the University of Basel. Professor Hiller, the floor is yours.
Sorry. No. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Li Bing, for the kind introduction. And I'd also like to thank SwissNext for organizing this. This is great that we can connect all the way to China. And I also want to welcome all the students and out there, and it's great that you attend. I would like to use this time to introduce you the University of Basel. We are educating talents since 1460. You've heard this before. We are the oldest university in Switzerland, and we hope that we can also be part of your education at one point. This is the main building of the University of Basel that you see here down here. And with this slide, I first want to show you where Basel actually is. You've seen Switzerland before. The mountains are here on the bottom, and Basel here is where the red dot is. And this is at the border of France, Germany, and Switzerland. It is in Switzerland, but really at the place where the three countries connect. And this is a very unique position also geographically. We have a long tradition in interacting with our neighboring countries here as well. This is Basel. You can see the river of Rhine here flowing through the city, a beautiful river with the old town here on the left-hand side. The whole city has 200,000 inhabitants, but the larger area has 1.3 million. It's quite a nice metropolitan area. And what is a particular highlight, and I'll come to that a bit later, is that Basel as a city is a life science cluster. And this is intrinsically connected with the presence of the university. So the university is here on the left-hand side of the river where the trees are and some of these higher buildings. But then we have two of the biggest, of the 5 biggest pharma companies in Basel City. Novartis here on the right-hand side, and Roche, which you may be familiar with, is on the right-hand side at the bottom. And so altogether, this city is really a life science cluster. And I will get to this, back to this in a second. Now, first of all, the University of Basel as such. Here are some facts and figures from last year. We have 7 faculties. We are full universities. We offer all disciplines, including humanities, sciences, medicine, psychology. We have 13,000 students, 5,000 employees, 400 professors. And you can see our annual budget is, is about $750 million Swiss francs, which is about same amount in US dollars. And I also calculated the amount in Chinese yuan for you. So you can see we have different faculties. We have law, medicine, humanities, social sciences, business, psychology. And in all of this, we offer education, bachelor degrees, master degrees, and of course, research, PhD, and postdoctoral research. University of Basel has been a driver of innovation since 1460, as I mentioned. We were the oldest university founded in Switzerland. Here's a picture of the founding ceremony in the Münster of Basel. And since then, the university has always been driving new things. We had the first botanical garden that you can see here on the bottom, still exists. It's a very nice one. And I'm not going through all the details, but want to go with you directly to the year 2021, where we are soon. And we are still a driver of research and innovation in the entire area in this hub of life science. Here's some parts of our history. You saw we were at some point key drivers here, first of philosophy, alchemistry, even mathematicians. We have a great tradition of mathematics in the 17th and 18th century. And then we gradually moved towards the life sciences. Here are 2 Nobel Prize winners mentioned, Werner Aber, who got it rather recently, Thaddeus Reichstein about 60 years ago. And this brings me to this part where I would really highlight that the University of Basel is a great institution for education and research, but this is part of a huger cluster. And the whole Basel is one life science cluster. We have 600 companies that do life science in Basel. There's nearly 30,000 employees in the industry. This is the biggest life science hub in Switzerland and one of the largest in Europe. We spend a huge amount of our local GDP on research and development. And this is actually the highest concentration worldwide. And we are also the most innovative region in life science worldwide. I mentioned before, we have the 2 top companies, Roche and Novartis in this city, but there's so many other startups going on, so many smaller companies around that we have a truly strong network for life science. So I would say if life science is your domain, then you might really consider coming to Basel, because here you find sounds fascinating and really exciting environment that has all you need. The University of Basel is focusing on life science. For this reason, we are living in a strong connection with the industry and with other institutions. And the University of Basel focuses to a large extent on life sciences. And I'm showing this here in the center. We have several departments. The Biozentrum as such, that's the one you see in the bottom left. This is the one I'm sitting in here right now, virtually at least. This is a department dedicated to fundamental research in molecular biology. We have, of course, the Faculty of Psychology. Pharmaceutical science is a strong department. We are then also having very strong health science in Basel with the University Hospital, the Department of Biomedicine, Clinical Research, and Biomedical Engineering. And this all is connected to institutions that are also in Basel, but not part of the University of Basel. I mentioned already the big players, Novartis and Roche before. There's a Friedrich Miescher Institute. It's a private world-class research institute in the molecular life science. We have the Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute and the FHNW, the Fachhochschule Nordwestschweiz, which is in the area. And even our good friends from ETH realized it's great to be in Basel, and they put a department, DBSSE, right next to actually the Biozentrum here in the downtown of Basel. So here we see a number of large buildings coming up in Basel. They're shown at the bottom. The one on the left is already realized, and 3 of the others are being constructed as we speak. So it's a great place to be. Roche is currently building a second huge tower. And so there's a booming life science city. And so University of Basel can be your place if this is your direction. We offer great education, the very advanced didactic teaching in all of the different directions. With this, I would like to thank, and I hope we can welcome you in Basel, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Hiller. Now let's welcome our next speaker, Professor Dr. Harald Gao, Dean of the Faculty of Business, Economics, and Informatics. He is also Professor of Software Engineering in Department of Informatics, University of Zurich. Professor Gao, you have the floor.
So hello, ni hao, and welcome. Sorry, something's wrong over here. Can you see my slides? Yes, wonderful. So I'm Harald Gao. I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Business, Economics, and Informatics, and I'm giving you a slice through the University of Zurich. Not presenting the whole university as such, but giving you the impressions of what it means to study in business economics and informatics. So a few seconds on the university, founded in 1833. It's a comprehensive university in the midst of the city of Zurich, and has about 28,000 students, and features all the subjects of a full university with 7 schools, and my school being one of those 7. So it's of course, well, you've heard from Detlef Günther, there's 2 big universities in the city of Zurich. One is ETH and one is the University of Zurich, and we collaborate in many of these research endeavors. And as a university and department, we are very well known. In the Department of Economics, I think that's the most well-known department that we have in my faculty, and I can only speak of my individual faculty. As Zurich as such, you know where it is ranked. It's a very livable city, and you see the lake. As many other cities in Switzerland are very livable, so it's not unique to Zurich as such. However, economics and finance is something that is very important in Zurich, but also very nicely featured in terms of teaching and research in the University of Zurich. Just to give you a flavor, and I'm not going for all of those, the programs in business and finance and economics is an interesting mixture between business and economics education and informatics education. Data science being one in the intersection of the 2. So you can study banking and finance with all the financial industry in the Zurich greater area. You can study business administration with many international companies in the area. You can study economics, of course, or combinations like management and economics. In addition, if you want to decide for more informatics, you can do AI, computing and economics, you can do data science, you can do software systems, or you can mix and match, right? You take a major and one of these that you see, or you take also minors. So either to specialize more into an area or to also address another area of your choice. So you could do behavioral economics, for example, and mix that with informatics. You could do data science and mix that with finance. So that's something that you can pick, and you can mix and match between the individual areas that we are putting up. You see the list, the typical list that you have for business schools. However, it's also something that is due to the embedding in the finance sector in Zurich, with lots of finance, but also behavioral economics and behavioral finance being one of the individual distinctive areas of research and teaching in our faculty at the University of Zurich. Of course, banking, you see that, so also comes nicely along with finance. There's new things that are coming up in terms of minors. You want to pick sustainable finance. So this is a very new trend on the horizon that, for example, we also are engaged in collaborating with BEDA and others, and sports management or marketing things are starting. This is what media write about us, maybe a different perspective that I want to share with you. So for example, these are highlights that I'd like to give you for a few slides. What is the research about? So for example, in behavioral economics, there is research that addresses not only climate tax, for example, even on meat, but it addresses aspects of what is the individual's role in economy and economic decision making, about effects on tax, effects on climate, and the larger environment that we see with SDGs and other things. So here, with Ernst Fehr being one of the economists in behavioral economics around the globe, there's various fields that are being examined, for example, also with neuroeconomics, where people do experiments and then have the opportunity to learn how economic decision-making is done using computer tomography or MRIs in the university hospital. So a combination between research at the university and research in labs. The financial center is very well known. Where the banks, you see one of them on the picture, but there's lots of private banks around that need research, that need the educated profiles from the universities around. And the question is, what is a good regulation for financials, for financial markets, for financial institutions? So there's, like with the work from these two gentlemen in my department and in my faculty, work that addresses exactly financial regulations. There's research about bonuses for managers. So what is a good incentivation for managers? What is useful? Where does it start to get a little bit odd in a sense, in terms of numbers, in terms of bonuses? What is a good model? And there's people around here that study, of course, the question of bonuses. And this transfers nicely into, let's say, the systems that companies and big enterprises may want to use or adopt or should adopt in the future. One more example from the media is drones. Well, we all know them, but there's a laboratory that developed not only high-speed drones. There was an example given at the beginning of high-speed drone flights. This drone development is a drone that is foldable. So it can fly in various situations, various environments by folding and unfolding. So it's very apt for emergency cases or for investigations, but also economically when you look at harvest situations or plants, etc. So the University of Zurich, as I said, this is only a snapshot, a slice into the business informatics and economics department. And we'd be happy to answer more questions about our different study fields, about study regulations or research that is out here in Zurich. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Gao, for the presentation. It is a unique opportunity for us to bring together high-level representatives from 5 prestigious Swiss universities. So I would like to invite you all to join a short panel discussion in order that our audience could learn more about your institution. We have prepared 2 questions for you, and the first one will be According to Global Innovation Index, Switzerland is the most innovative country for 10 times in a row since 2011. So how are universities contributing to this prosperous and sustainable innovation ecosystem? Could you please share your thoughts in this regard? Maybe Professor Hesteven.
Yes, thank you. So, so we do this in a number of different ways. Many of our master students, as part of their studies, in fact, are required to spend either a summer or sometimes a semester in a company working there to get an experience and an opportunity to be in that environment. Many of our students do their master thesis with companies so that they build a connection like that. Then, of course, we have the innovation park, which is a very rich environment where people with ideas, perhaps developed during their studies, can go and develop and begin to mature their ideas so that they can bring them to market. And then finally, there's a very I would say rich environment in Switzerland for funding opportunities between the universities and the companies, so that once you have started a small company and you want to continue to perhaps work with EPFL, then there's an organization called InnoSwiss that exactly funds these kinds of collaborations, so that you do research at the university, but it's very much driven by activities and interests of the company, and basically you transition innovation into the company in particular areas of interest. So there's a whole scope of activities all the way from starting really at the educational level through the startup pipeline, and then you can continue with your startup to work with the universities to continue to mature and develop the products. So I think this is part of the success, that there's this pipeline of young people at different stages getting involved in the technology transfer and innovation.
Thank you. And how about ETH Zurich? Professor Gunther?
Most has been said already by Jan. I would say the most important part is knowledge transfer takes place via people, and that's the reason why we focus on very good education. There was once a study which showed that 30% of the CEOs in Switzerland have graduated from ETH. And then we strongly believe that some of the innovation comes from really groundbreaking basic science with top-notch equipment, then into the applied sciences over into the innovation part. And of course, the ETH is very strongly linked to industry. We sign more than 400 contracts per year. So that means here we really try to transfer, do prototyping, do all the digitalization developments together with industry. Some of our open labs are able that industry partners work together with professors on the topic here directly in the university environment. So that means these all contributes, and you can put this on all levels. It is based possibly on what Felix Messner showed at the beginning. It's an outstanding education system which starts early on and is so flexible that everyone can pass through. So yeah, there are many components for these, let's say, good parameters. However, don't focus too much on numbers. And it's more important to see how we are doing in also in the reality, and so far we see we have a fruitful system here in Switzerland.
Thank you for the insights. Then I would like to ask Professor Berthet, could you offer your opinion in this regard?
So on our side, it's quite the same as has been said by the two Federal Institute of Technology at Zurich and Lausanne, but it's basically we think by a good basic research and a strong link between research and education. And also we promote technology transfer, and so we have, like many other university, an office with dealing with this transfer of technology from laboratory towards marketplace, and we work with startups company and also with the existing company. And we also create recently, for example, at the science faculty, Science Innovation Hub, in order to promote and facilitate the translation between research from the laboratory to industry and to creation of startups. And we do that also in the domain of medical studies. So there is a lot of effort which are done to in this field of innovation and to offer to our students this capacity of innovation. But as has been said, Switzerland has changed to have a very good framework condition and a strong education system.
Thank you, Professor Berthet. And how about University of Basel? I think in particular, the collaboration in the sector of life science. So Professor
Yes,
Hiller.
exactly. So thanks a lot. Yep. So we do this very clearly along 4 lines. So the first is we do groundbreaking fundamental research ourselves. This is our key role at the university, to make the novel discoveries that lead to applications in a few years from now. Second point is that we do have many ongoing collaborations, many within Basel, within the life science industry in Basel, but also worldwide, where we actively, groups from the University of Basel work in collaboration with industrial groups. The third one is, of course, our education. We put a key focus to enable our young generation to do the next innovative steps, to found their own companies, to make startups, and the startups themselves. We also foster very strongly. The University of Basel has a dedicated program with incubators for young startups, and being part of the city of Basel, we have a huge network of competence in these cities in all areas of life science. So there is somebody who, whatever a startup wants to do in this area, there's expertise around in highest level. And the magic here is to connect all of this, and this is very well done in our university.
Thank you, Professor Hiller. And now, Professor Gao, how about University of Zurich and also Faculty of Business, Economics, Informatics in particular?
Yeah, so many things have been said. We're part of this ecosystem with InnoSwiss and the innovation platforms. From a University of Zurich perspective, of course, I mean, the combination of research and translation into industry and products and services is essential. For that, we start with the researchers, where we build very multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary networks and groups with priority programs, for example, in the future of work or sustainable finance, or in an area blockchain and smart contracts, where we not only line up individuals from one area, but from many different disciplines to work on a common topic. Like the future of work is something that concerns many disciplines, for example, in psychology, in business, technology, social sciences, history. So this is like a melting pot for ideas, and these ideas then are being supported to be either in an entrepreneurial spirit, where we have these platforms, as my colleagues already reported, in a similar fashion, to go to, you know, either boot camps for business cases and then to startups, but also to open up for more research that then can be built into, I know, you know, patents and other kinds of things for the university. So business, economics, informatics is part of this whole ecosystem, and I think it's important to line up these many disciplines in the hot topics, so to speak, maybe even in ground societal challenges. So that's kind of our approach.
Thank you very much for these insights. Now let's move on to the next topic. So we live in a rapidly changing era, which is characterized by massive shifts in technological advancement and globalization. So how do university integrate industry and job relevant skills into the curricula to maximize student learning outcomes and prepare your graduates for an ever-changing job market? So due to the time limit, so I would kindly ask our panelists to limit your answer like in 30 seconds. Thank you. Let's start with Professor Gunther, please.
Well, if you ask me to answer this so quickly, then I can say 98% of our students are getting within 9 months a job. So that indicates already that they have a good chance on the market, so flexible enough. And what's very important is the computational skills and the strong mathematics is a focus. Here you have to be at least very active. Thanks.
Thank you. Then how about University of Basel, Professor Hiller?
Actually, I can also follow what Detlef Günther has said. We have really no problem that our alumni find jobs. Actually, sometimes they find jobs too early and leave the labs within a well-running project because they get an attractive job in the industry. So we teach a lot of, integrate a lot of also what is generally called soft skills besides our normal hardcore science. But we think, of course, that the important stuff comes from the scientific key competence, and this we have for sure in our curriculum.
Thank you. And then next, how about University of Zurich?
I'd like to take an educational perspective. So more like we try to inject lots of case studies into our education for the students, capstone projects in industry with the students, but also internships that students can take with industrial companies in the Zurich Greater area or in Switzerland. In addition, we have part-time professors who are part-time professors at the university, but also working in industry, not only as lecturers, but also as professors, which is a nice bridge between state of the practice and state of the art in science.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Then now, Professor Berthet, could you share your view on this?
Yes, I can share many things which has been already said. So for University of Geneva, we try also to put our students in contact with the practice and industry or the real world. So we offer internship and different expertise in our courses. So it's a mix of different options that we offer to our students to be well-formed and well-prepared.
Thank you, Professor. And then I'd like to ask Professor Hesteven for your insights.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I mean, EPFL is a school of science and technology, and very few challenges in finding jobs after graduation. The situation is very similar to ETH Zurich. So there are lots of relevant companies, both in the region as well as all over Switzerland, that are looking for competences in the basic sciences, in math and computer science, and in technology, and they find jobs very quickly.
Thank you. Okay, thank you everyone for sharing further your insights. And now let's move on to the next session with testimonials from accomplished alumni. So first, let's welcome Professor Dr. Li Chunhe, who is professor at Wuhan Institute of Physics and Mathematics of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, University of Basel alumnus, to share his experience in Basel. Professor He, the floor is yours.
Hello, Li Bin. Thank you for your introduction and good day, everyone. So since Sebastian has already given you very rich information about University of Basel, I would like to share you with my experience about the city of Basel from aspects of both life and working. So I moved from Braunschweig, Germany to Basel in 2014 for my postdoc research in Biocenter, University of Basel. The city of Basel impressed me with its friendly atmosphere and leading science. So Basel was the first city in Europe where I felt not being particularly treated as a foreigner. So when you arrived in Basel, the first thing you need to do is to go to the immigration and registration office to change your Schengen visa to a working permit. So where you might get your first impression about Basel's friendly and open attitude towards foreigners. So for living in Basel, you might also have some concerns about language, weather, and life quality. So Basel is in the area of German-speaking area, but most of the people there speak English. So you don't need to worry about communication problems outside the university. For the weather, Basel has mild and sunny climate, might be the best climate in Switzerland. So third, life quality. So as Basel was divided by a Rhine River into two parts. So the river also provides you very colorful and relaxed life after.
Professor He, can you hear us?
I think he's blocked.
Yeah,
huh?
maybe we have some, there is some connection problem on his side. Maybe let's just, Professor He, can you hear us? Well, let's, maybe we just quickly go to the next speaker. Then if Professor He is back again, then we can continue with his presentation. So now I'd like to invite Chu Yaopeng, founder and CEO DeepMag, EPFL alumnus, to introduce his research and life at EPFL. Chu Yao, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. So actually, thanks SwissNext to having me here, and I would like to share about my learning experience in the EPFL. Actually, I graduated in EPFL in 2013 in material science, and apply for the PhD of Oxford. But I got a PhD admission, but this finally decided to join a startup and to start up my company quickly. And after 3 years there, and I founded DeepMag Technology, so which is a leading MagLab and magnetic solution provider in China, and we also have the chance to be elected as Forbes China Under 30. So actually, on the right is the photo our graduation ceremony, and also the logo that we presented to the EPFL 50 years celebration. Yeah. Transportation as well. So actually, I think there's a lot of strength at EPFL. First of all, I think EPFL is very strongly dedicated to cutting-edge research and engineering. For example, the world's first solar plane, solar electrical plane that fly worldwide, the solar impulse, and also on the Swiss Convention Center, we can find the future generation of solar cells, which I was researched before, which EPFL is also the first on the top in the world. And also the Swiss Hyperloop is a future generation high-speed train, so which can reach 1,000 kilometer power speed with MagLab technology. So actually Elon Musk also is working on the Hyperloop, and EPFL is also very strong on this, and top in the competition, in top 3 in worldwide. And also, EPFL also has a very good research environment. I really enjoy the discussion with the professors and also the PhD students about, fully can arouse my curiosity, and I think really reply to every question of mine. And also, thanks to the world-class faculty and the facility in EPFL, and I also learned a lot. And actually my second master project is guided by a professor transferred from MIT. So actually he has already been MIT tenure and come to EPFL. So actually the faculty is very good. And also the multinational diversity, there are students from over 100 countries in the world, from Switzerland, Italy, France, US, China, Germany, and so forth. Also the strong research collaboration worldwide, for example, the Harvard Blue Brain Project, and also very strong entrepreneurship. For example, the venture EPFL Tech Park to transfer technology. So if you want to start up a company after graduation, I think EPFL is the epic center in Europe. And also, there's a very good splendid view near Lake Leman and the central location. Also, the economic infrastructure in Switzerland is very good, as well as the education, and the university are, it's very good ranking, and well, and also you can have a good payment as a PhD or master as RA. So next, thank you.
Thank you, Chu Yao. Now let's welcome Xueying Mao, Chief Representative of RQ Micro AG China Rep Office, and she's a ETH Zurich alumni. Let's welcome her to share her academic and professional experience. Xueying, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Xueying. I got my bachelor's degree in engineering from Zhejiang University. I was very interested in the topic of medical devices and diagnostic technologies because it can benefit millions of people around the world. So I joined the biosensor laboratory at Zheda in my junior year. There, I did my undergraduate research project. I got a very good recommendation letter from a professor, and that for sure helped me with my application to ETH Zurich. While in ETH, I had the flexibility to design my own master studies. Besides all the interesting interdisciplinary courses to choose from, which are often taught by top-level university professors in the world, I also had plenty of chances to get hands-on experience in team assignments, semester project, and master thesis. In addition, I took a gap year during my master's program to do an internship as a research and development engineer in microfluidics in CSEM, which stands for Swiss Center of Electronics and Microtechnologies. My professor supervisor at ETH was also very supportive. He provided me good career advice and wrote me recommendation letters, which helped me to get the work permit needed in Switzerland by that time. When I was about to graduate, I met my current boss at an event organized at the ETH Entrepreneur Club. He is the CEO and co-founder of a biotech startup, also an ETH spinoff. He was considering to expand the business to the Chinese market. And my education background, my experience and interest fits perfectly with the job. So here I am. I think I'm really lucky to have such learning and working experience in Switzerland. And I think my good luck was a natural process of multiple reasons. First of all, of course, is my own effort. For every single chance, I did my best to earn them. And then the most important credits goes to the higher education system in Switzerland, where everyone is encouraged to find his or her own passion and then go for it, where every single good idea is respected, and where innovations are truly supported. I believe most of our audience today are still very young. You still have plenty of time in your life. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't say no to yourself until you have tried. Please go to see and to experience the world as much as you can. Then one day you may find you are actually the lucky one. Thank you. I am Xueying. I am proud to be an ETH alumna. You could find my resume on LinkedIn by searching my name and my company's name and get into contact. Or you can write to SwissNext if you have further questions addressed to me, and they will give you my contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, Xueying, for these useful suggestions. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Yi Zhen, Head of Office, Institute of Sustainable Development Goals of Tsinghua University. She is University of Geneva PhD candidate. Ms. Zhen, you have the floor.
Thank you, Li Bing. Thank you for having me. So I'm Zheng Yi from Tsinghua SDG Institute. Today is a little bit different as me being here because I'm not alumna, but I'm in the point of view of ongoing studying student as a PhD student here. So I'd like to share a little bit like few points from me. So in general, I think Swiss University is a good place to do research. It's not only in the matter of innovation of business, startups, or technology, or science. Is more like, for me, it's more like to give give myself the freedom to follow my own idea and choose my own area of research. In another word, is give you the chance to focus on your own study. And Swiss actually could be in a lot of way to be international and some way to be conservative. But I'm just going to put 2 points here. As a matter of international, the area I value the most is actually the platform. It has really international platforms as UN sectors, international organizations, headquarters, and also Davos Forum in Davos, Switzerland. And to some student, it could be a little bit conservative because maybe you have a previous learning experience with UK, US, or Canada, or Australia. It's just an aspect of language. But however, as a country that not taking English as its official language, there's a great ratio of English using in the current Swiss university. And it's just like a photo I put in the right here. It could be, the view could be colorful or black and white. It just depends on how you view it. I take this as a very good chance to learn my French, actually. And next slide, please. Yes, so I'm just going to share a little bit few tips over here. So before you apply to your next period of study, like you have to understand or figure out why Swiss, why now, and thank you, and why your major. Because study could be a lifelong journey. It hasn't to be right now, but you have to figure out before doing all the applications. And the second is, because I'm doing my PhD as a remotely currently, and also under the COVID-19, you have to be really self-motivated and self-disciplined. And the last point from me is to jump out of your comfort zone, but remember to live a life, enjoy the research you're doing. It is very, very important because me as a full-time job in Tsinghua University and also a full-time student in University of Geneva, you have to make the balance and also live a life. So yes, and also as Professor Bassanat mentioned about Tsinghua Geneva initiative, that's actually my aspect of research is to making sustainable development goals as an institutional compass for higher education. So yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Zhengyi, for this very special experience. Then I would like to invite Amy Wen, Investment Sales Management, Credit Suisse. She's a University of Zurich alumni, to introduce her study experience. Amy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Li Bing. So I did my bachelor's degree in sinology and East Asian art history at the University of Zurich. And looking back, I can say that I've spent 3 amazing years on a very beautiful campus, and I've met a lot of like-minded and smart people. And very importantly, I have learned what it means to think critically and to voice my opinion. And that process was, of course, continuously supported by very renowned professors and an outstanding academic environment and also research material. I was also able to build a network that would help me enter into the professional world later on. And I think that this aspect is very important to emphasize, especially as I studied social sciences, and sometimes, this field does not feel as straightforward as other fields in terms of, what to do professionally later on. But as the University of Zurich is very well connected also to the private sector, there were, different channels in my faculty that would publish job postings, in Swiss auction houses or also management agencies, but also, for example, for the Swiss television. So it's very, versatile, and I could really get a glimpse, of all the opportunities I would have after graduation, and that also really helped me in expanding my network, and then eventually led me to working in banking and finance, where I am today. So on the next slide, I just wanted to show you the beautiful museum Rietberg and Villa Schönberg, where I had all my seminars in for East Asian art history, and I just think that this is one of the most beautiful places you can study in. Yes, and with that, I would like to pass the word back to you, Bing.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you very much. Now, I think Professor Dr. He is back. Can you hear us? Maybe we can continue with your talk. Let's go quickly back to the slides of Professor He.
Yeah, thanks, Libin. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So Basel again. So Basel was also well known for leading chemical and pharmaceutical industry, which you already know, Roche and Novartis. And there's another giant, Syngenta, which was acquired by ChemChina, was also located in Basel. So there are strong connections between Basel University and those industry companies. So there's opportunities for you to get visit to these companies and knowing what's going on in industry. So in the end, to sum it up, I hope 5 take-home message for you about Basel. So first, leading science, strong connections with industries. Third, nice weather and friendly and liberal atmosphere. Last but not least, colorful and relaxed life after work. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor He. Thank you very much. Now we should move on to the Q&A session. We have a lot of questions from the audience, and I think most of them are already answered by our speakers during the webinar. Since we have like few minutes left, so I will just pick up the most frequently asked ones and maybe raise them to the speakers. So I think one of the big concerns from our audience is like if there is any minimum requirement of English level like IELTS or TOEFL when they apply for the PhD programs in Swiss public universities. I think Professor Hesteven already answered it. How about the other universities like ETH Zurich? Do you have any minimum requirement?
It's exactly the same as we have it for the EPFL. And it's very important to be able to express yourself properly. That is absolute. Communication are the skills you need to have to interact with all the other international students.
Thank you, Professor Ganze. Then how about University of Geneva?
So it is the same for us. There is no special, but diploma we ask, but you need to express yourself correctly.
Okay. So I think that it's all the same for all the universities. Then we move on to the next one. Many participants asked about the monthly living cost of Switzerland, and whether the PhD salary can cover the cost. I already see a lot of answers in the chat box. So they also asked if they already received the CSC fellowship. So the funding from the Chinese government, if they can still apply for other funding opportunities from Swiss side. Maybe Professor Hiller, do you have any insights, any information to share?
As it was mentioned before, most of the PhD positions in Switzerland are paid with a regular salary, and this is a very good salary, which easily allows you to live as a single person, but I know many cases where they even nurture a whole family with that salary. So So that should usually do it. And if you have a scholarship, I mean, we have to talk about the specifics, or depending on how much that money is, of course, that if it's a partial salary, partial scholarship, this might be compatible with a full salary. Sometimes it might lead to deductions in the salary. That depends really on the regulations.
Well, here I must say actually that at ETH we have the obligation, if the stipend or whatever is provided, we have to match this to the normal doctoral students equivalent to all the others. So we treat them all equally. So we provide them matching funds.
Yeah, the same thing at EPFL.
Thank you. And how about University of Zurich?
It's a kind of similar. It depends a little bit. There's different kinds of funding schemes that are available to match that. Sometimes even the departments can back that up, and sometimes the faculties. But in general, I agree with my colleagues.
Thank you very much. Since the time is out and our speakers, they have other engagements, so we will end the Q&A session now. Thank you very much to all our speakers for your available time and for your helpful information and deep insights. And we have one last reminder to our audience, to our young talents. So if you have more questions, please send them to the email address that we show on the screen. We will forward your questions to our speakers to give their feedback to you. You are also more than welcome to scan the QR code to follow us on our social media. Thank you very much for your active participation, and we look forward to meeting you in our next events. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good luck with
Bye,
your
bye.
applications.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.